All right, ladies and gentlemen, so we have an interesting follow-up story to this lawsuit that was happening against former Ubisoft executives. If you guys forgot this story, let me remind you, apparently 3 former Ubisoft executives that were fired after it was discovered that they were doing bad things in the office, apparently they got sued by these people and they lost. They were found guilty of enabling a culture of sexual harassment over at Ubisoft. Now, everybody thought when they were found guilty, that was going to be the end of it. To my knowledge, they got no jail time, which is insane, but they were still found guilty regardless. Well, apparently, this is only going to continue to get worse because now Ubisoft's own CEO, yes, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Yves himself, Ubisoft CEO, is now being summoned to appear before the French court in relation to the harassment trial, as the publisher says it will continue to cooperate with the justice system in this matter. This situation has exploded beyond the initial phase of what it was, because now if you are involving Ubisoft CEO Yves, this is going to be a major issue. So we're going to cover exactly why he is going to be summoned in the French court system right now. But if you guys are new here, just leave a comment down below on this video. Let me know what you think about this situation. So Ubisoft says that the court has already decided that there are no grounds to initiate criminal proceedings against the company or its management. Again, I don't understand how these people got away scot-free. I really don't. I don't understand how they could all be found guilty of doing all these things and yet somehow were just let to be scot-free. You know, they were found guilty of psychological harassment and complicity in sexual harassment, according to this particular article. Now, if we look here, it says Ubisoft CEO Yves has been summoned to appear before a French court following a trial in which 3 former executives were found guilty of workplace harassment in June. In that trial, Sergey, Tommy, and Patrux were all given fines and suspended sentences ranging between 12 months and 3 years after being convicted based on accusations including sexual misconduct, bullying, and systemic racism. Which, you know what's funny about this? These are all things that Ubisoft claims to be against, which is hilarious, right? They've been virtue signaling for years now, claiming to be against all this stuff, and meanwhile, it was happening under their own nose. It was happening in their own house by multiple executives. I can only imagine it's probably even more than the 3 that were caught, but I'm sure they don't want people to know that. But in any case, all 3 either resigned or were dismissed from Ubisoft following reports of their conduct back in 2020. And 2020 was the year of virtue signaling. Everybody and their mother was virtue signaling against all of this stuff, racism probably at the most because of what happened. So again, I just find it hilarious that the companies that virtue signal the most are the ones that are doing it in their own house. But now the trade union, Solidaires Informatique, and 4 other individuals who were all involved in that original trial have filed a subpoena instructing Yves to appear before the Bobigny District Court on October 1st. Jesus Christ, man, they are subpoenaing this guy. They are not going to let him go. As reported by French news network BFM TV via VGC, the summons is in relation to that trial that took place. In a statement to the VGC, Ubisoft confirmed that it had received summons from the union and related parties to appear before the court, specifying that these are the same civil parties and this summons is based on the same facts as those in the case judged by the court this past June, following an investigation by the public prosecutor's office. Ubisoft added that after the investigation, and contrary to the civil parties' request, the public prosecutor's office decided that there were no grounds to initiate criminal proceedings against Ubisoft or its management, a decision it confirmed during its closing arguments at the hearing of last June. So at the very least, it doesn't seem like they're going to be going after Ubisoft in any way that is going to lead to any kind of criminal trial, criminal proceedings. It doesn't matter. It doesn't look like they're going to be doing that, but they might have to deal with other issues. It says Ubisoft concluded by saying that it would continue to cooperate with the justice system in this matter, as it has done over the past 5 years in the review of the facts related to this case. Hascott, formerly Ubisoft's chief creative officer, received an 18-month suspended sentence and a fine of $47,190 after being found guilty of psychological harassment and complicity in a sexual harassment. According to both court testimonies in an internal Ubisoft investigation, employees under Hascott were subjected to racial slurs and Islamophobic pranks. Now, again, this whole thing has been a wild story through and through. I don't know what's going to happen to Yves. I don't know what's going to happen to Ubisoft. I really don't know what's going to happen overall, but I do find it very interesting that they are subpoenaing him to summon before the court, even after everything has already been taken care of. If you guys forgot, this matter is pretty much closed. At least that's what I thought anyway. The fact that they were found guilty to me pretty much says that all of this has been closed. You know, former staff had said that between 2012 and 2020, the company's offices in Montreal, east of Paris, were run with a toxic culture of bullying and sexism that one worker likened to a boys' club above the law. The state prosecutor, Antoine, has told the court that the world of video games and its subculture had an element of systemic sexism and potential abuse, and called the trial a turning point for the gaming world. Now, obviously, they tried to turn it into this massive activism kind of trial and all that nonsense. Nobody was believing this bullshit. But at the end of the day, they were found guilty of these things. So people, you know, are going to be thinking what they want to think about Ubisoft now. And at this point, this company deserves it, right? I think it's honestly hilarious that this company that virtue signals all the way through to the end is also the same company that also has lost a lawsuit regarding this nonsense. The court even apparently heard how he once tied a female member of staff to a chair with tape, pushed a chair into a lift, and pressed a button at random. He was also accused of forcing one woman wearing a skirt to do handstands. She told the court, "He was my superior and I was afraid of him. He made me do handstands. I did it to get it over with and to get rid of him." At a 2015 office Christmas party with a Back to the Future theme, Francois allegedly told a member of the staff that he liked her 1950s dress. He then allegedly stepped towards her to kiss her on the mouth as his colleagues restrained her by the arms and back. She shouted and broke free. Francois had told the court that there was a culture of joking around, he said. "I never tried to harm anyone." Sergei Haskot, 59, Ubisoft's former chief creative officer and second in command, was found guilty of the psychological harassment and complicity in sexual harassment. So, again, guys, this entire thing has been a crazy, crazy story. Ubisoft has a lot of things to worry about, on top of the fact that their company has been completely falling into the freaking ocean at this point. Tencent has come in and gave them a little bit of money in order to try to save them temporarily, knowing that they are going to eventually sweep in and take those beautiful IPs that they desperately want control over for really cheap. That's Tencent's ultimate goal. They've done this with many companies before. They're going to do it with Ubisoft, and they're going to be successful at it. I guarantee you it's only a few years away before Tencent is complete owners of Assassin's Creed, Rainbow Six, the Far Cry series. They are going to be complete owners of all that stuff. It's only a matter of time, and they know exactly what they're doing to take down this particular company from the inside, because Ubisoft is doing it to themselves. They're ran by complete psychos. Yves has not been doing his job for the longest time, and the simple fact is they can make all these subsidiaries that they want. They can make all these different strategies to try to make Ubisoft great again, but at the end of the day, you are still in charge. You are the main problem, and until Yves ends up leaving Ubisoft, they're never going to be okay. It's never going to come back. It's never going to try to return to form, as they like to say. It's just never going to happen. So you guys can let me know in the comments down below. What do you think about this entire situation? What do you think about Yves being summoned before the court? What do you think is going to happen when he actually is summoned before the court? Are they just going to find him? Are they going to question him? Why are they even questioning him, considering the outcome of the case has already been decided? Whatever that may be, leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you enjoyed it, consider hitting that like and subscribe, as we just recently passed 100K, and I'll see you guys on the next one.